Sherri PAPINI was on a jog November 2nd of 2016. She gets kidnapped at the end of her street. She's gone for 22 days. She shows up on the side of a highway. She's chained up. She's got bruises, holes in her body. She has ribs protruding out. She goes to the hospital. As soon as her husband gets there, he takes a look at her and he doesn't believe her. And frankly, I don't really believe her either. And look, I'm not victim blaming, okay? I have my reasons, but we will get into all of this. It is a crazy story. I watched 2 documentaries about it. The first documentary I watched was The Perfect Wife on Hulu. It has 3 episodes. Fascinating. It's all about the story. It's told from her husband, her family, her friends, and the investigators, etc. We're gonna start with that one. So Sherri and Keith are married. Sherri is 34 years old. They live in Redding, California. And Keith came home that day. He realized that his wife wasn't there, and also that his kids weren't there, because normally his wife will pick his kids up, well, their kids up from daycare, bring them home, and then they're all there when he gets home. So he's like, okay, this is weird. Like, what's going on? He looks at Find My Friends and sees that her phone is at the end of the street. So he's like, huh? He drives to the end of the street. Her phone is on the ground. There are headphones attached. Her hair is in the headphones a little bit, and he takes a photo of it before messing with it because he wanted to like preserve the evidence or whatever. So at this point, he's thinking someone ripped her off the street, obviously. Like, she got kidnapped. Her phone's on the ground. She's nowhere to be found. His kids aren't home. The cops come to their house that night, and they're like, we're gonna do a big search in the morning. I think they came to the house to just get the basics. They get clear on what she was wearing and what she typically brings with her on her runs. So day 1 of her missing, they do a massive grid search. There's over 250 volunteers. Also, that area is apparently known for abductions, sex trafficking, etc. Many missing women have been taken from around this area. And a little bit of an interesting detail, there was a woman named Tara Smith, and in 1998, she was kidnapped miles away from Sherri and Keith's home. And the parallels were just kind of crazy. Like, they were both young, blonde, on a run, taken off the street. So, you know, people are like, uh-oh, this is scary, especially to be a woman right now. So the police go around to the neighbors and kind of try to get some information about Sherri and Keith. The interview with neighbors was kind of all over the place because some people said that they heard a lot of fighting, screaming. Some people said that he was like weird and creepy. But then most other people were like, no, we've never heard a peep. So then obviously they're like, okay, gotta interview the husband, because the husband is always, you know, does it. I'm kidding. But the husband's always the first person they think did it and like gets interviewed, which makes sense if you're married, whatever. They also interview her best friend, Jennifer, and they were kind of asking her just about the ins and outs of their relationship, marriage. First of all, she said Sherri can be very dramatic. Okay, I just want to put that out there. She can be very dramatic. That doesn't negate anything she's saying, but she can be dramatic, okay? Her best friend said when they got married, Sherri was like, if I try to leave, he will kill me. Like, chop me up vibes. Like, chop me up and put me in the backyard or bury me or whatever. And when they got married, he wanted like a 1950s wife, but also one who worked, which I feel like that doesn't really go hand in hand. But, you know, maybe she felt that way. Who knows? And she brought up a story of how Sherri told her that they were at a party at their friend's house and Keith had hit her in the eye and got a black eye. So when they eventually asked Keith about this, he's just like, oh, no, we were playing Fruit Ninja and my hand went up with the sword or whatever and it knocked her eye. And it was like bad, but it was honestly, we were all kind of laughing because we were just like, this looks terrible. Like, I'm the husband, I just gave her a black eye. He said people were like laughing and stuff, and it wasn't like, it truly wasn't what she made it seem like. The police interviewed the person who owned the home that had the party, and she also said they were playing Fruit Ninja, and it was like a funny moment. It wasn't like anything domestic, you know? They start questioning Keith, and Keith is like, she can get really angry and yell and a little crazy, but he's also like, but I don't want to talk negatively about her. And this isn't something that was for TV. This was just in the like investigators section. I don't want to say interrogation because I don't think they were interrogating him. It was just questioning. But the police then ask, have there ever been any big fights, anything that would cause like, you know, her to run away or whatever? And he says at the beginning of their marriage, Keith saw on her phone that she was texting it was either she was texting a guy or texting someone about a guy, just saying he's so cute, she just met him, and obviously it was like flirting and she was kind of like emotionally cheating on him or whatever. So he finds out, she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. He wants to get a post-nuptial, which is a protection thing. I mean, most people sign prenups before they get married, and maybe not most people, I actually don't know. I know it's like kind of a debate sometimes. I think it's probably a good idea because like who knows whatever is going to happen in the future, but especially for this, yeah, he was like, can we do a post-nuptial? She's like, yeah, whatever, I'll sign anything. Legally, they have to keep their money separated. because of this post-nuptial. Also during the questioning, Keith let them know that she had been working at AT&T but had been laid off last December. So this is November of 2016. So laid off December 2015. He said she got a severance, but she wanted to stay home, and she also got a boob job. So get it, girly, I suppose. And he was like, I mean, if she wanted to leave, like, she doesn't, like, the car isn't in her name, like, the house isn't in her name, like, she doesn't have much to run away with if that's what she's doing. So yeah, massive grid search is happening. Like I said, over 250 volunteers. People are making signs, and her very pregnant sister is there crying, searching, doing whatever she can. At this point, the FBI becomes involved, and it, like, blows up online. Like, people are talking about it like crazy. They're like, the husband definitely did it. Something seems off with him, red flags, etc., etc. So, you know, internet's doing what the internet does. So on the third day of her going missing, they're still interviewing Keith. They get over 900 tips from people in the area, and it is honestly overwhelming, and they're trying to figure out like what's real and what's not. It's a lot of people calling in being like, I saw a weird man around that area getting in a weird car, or like, I think I maybe saw her at an ice cream place. I don't know. It's just like a lot of maybe I saw somebody, and they don't really get anything from it. So at this point it goes nationwide. So then they have Keith do a polygraph test because they're kind of like, I don't think he did it, but like maybe something is hidden in here. I don't know. And this was like confusing to me. I will say polygraph comes up a lot in this story, and I know that they can't be used in the court of law. So here's what it says about criminal investigations. It says that in police work, polygraph results are rarely admissible as evidence in court because the technology is considered scientifically unstable. Instead, detectives use the machines as a psychological tool during interrogations. The threat of a lie detector often spooks suspects or witnesses into doubting themselves, changing their statements, or giving a full confession. But I know at the same time, like, they can see when your body reacts. So it's not necessarily a scientific measure of truth, but it does give signs that your body is reacting in a certain way where it normally wouldn't if you were just telling the truth. So they have Keith do a polygraph test. He passes with flying colors. He apparently is not lying about anything. He's like, I don't know where she is, and we gotta find her. And during this time, Keith is all over the news. He's genuinely like crying. He looks so legit upset. Like he is, it just doesn't feel like someone who's like pretending to cry for the cameras or is like, I don't know. You know how you can just kind of feel the vibes? Whenever he would talk or think about his kids, he would break down. It was just very obvious that he was like, I need to find her. Also, he just gave the police, as soon as this happened, full access to his phone, full access to her phone. He didn't get a lawyer. He was just like, I just want to find her. At this point, I'm just like, yeah, I'm on his side. I feel like he's trying to find her and doesn't know where she is. 9 days go by, they stop the ground search, and now they're going more technology. They're looking through cameras, cell phones. The husband now isn't really a suspect at all. Keith is getting a little frustrated, probably like impatient, because he comes in, he's like, is there anything at all? Like anything? What's happening? Have you found anything about this? And they let him know that in her cell phone, the day before she went missing, there was a back and forth text message with a certain person. And this person was somebody she kind of had a thing with like 5 years ago. So Keith explains, okay, in 2011, Sherri went to a restaurant for a conference. The man who owned the restaurant was like heavily flirting with her. But they were talking at this conference, and then they went to bars after, and then she leaves the next day. So that went on for like 3 months, and then it ended, and she would check up on him here and there, but it wasn't a thing really anymore. So that's the backstory. The police say that there's a text between them. The text was from San Francisco. It was him saying, hey, I'm in California. Any way we can meet up. I can stop by, or we can meet somewhere in the middle. And she's just like, no. That was the day before, and that was the last text. There was nothing else in her phone to that guy or from him. 20 days missing, they still have no idea. Here's where it gets exciting. Thanksgiving morning in 2016, 22 days missing, a 911 call comes in. It's a man saying there's a lady on the side of the road who's screaming for help. She's got chains around her waist. She has zip ties on her arms. Her name is Sherri PAPINI. Also, I'm so sorry. I think I'm just going to keep saying Sherri PAPINI because I just want to say PAPINI so much. And in the background, she keeps saying, she took me. She took me. They take her to the hospital. They're examining her, whatever. And she's like, I don't want anybody in here. Like, I just want my husband. Like, I just want Keith in here. Nobody can protect me. Oh, I just want to see him. Another crazy part of her injuries, like I said, there were burns everywhere. She had holes in her skin, and she had been branded on her back. The branding on her back said Exodus, like from the Bible, but even police investigated it, and they had no idea how it correlated with this kidnapping or whatever. They were just like, this passage from the Bible doesn't have anything to do with what's going on here. So the lead officer gets Keith, and he's like, she just wants to see you. So he's like, oh my God, finally, I can go see my wife. He goes into the room. There is a curtain around her. He pulls the curtain back, and he says, he doesn't know how to explain this, but the look in her eyes made him think that she was lying. But he doubts himself because he sees her body. He sees how sick she looks. Her ribs are protruding, like she's super skinny. She's got bruises on her head. And so he's like feeling sick that he even thought that she could have been lying. Because he's like, look at her body. It's awful. So she doesn't want to talk to the police at all. She does not trust law enforcement. So unfortunately, police need things done quickly. You know, they need to do tests on her to see to find DNA or whatever, and she just doesn't want to do it. And Keith is trying to ask what happened because they need answers. He's truly trying to get it out. What kind of car? What did they look like? Where did they take you? Do you remember anything? This is all she really can come up with. It was a dark SUV. It was 2 women. They were Hispanic. They spoke Spanish. Doesn't remember anything after that until she was dropped off and wandered around until she was found. So at this point, she's blacked out pretty much a lot of it, which is pretty normal for trauma. There's holes in stories, you get brain blackouts. It makes sense why she doesn't remember. This is 4 days after she returns home. The media is crazy. She's getting calls from Dr. Oz, Dr. Phil. Chris Hansen shows up at their house. Paparazzi is even following them, taking photos. It's genuinely insane. And now she's at the point where she's like, okay, I'll do a police interview, but Keith has to be there. Like, she's not doing anything without Keith. And this whole interview you can find online. I don't want to talk for someone if they had this crazy trauma, but she just goes back and forth from having like these crazy moments of just like, and then she has moments where she's joking with the police officer and, you know, saying how she wanted her husband to come home for sex. Like, I wasn't judging it when I was watching because I'm like, I don't know how people act after a big traumatic event, but I just thought it was interesting. If you watch it, you might get a better feel for it. This is what she tells police. This is all she can really muster up to give them any information of what happened to her. She says she got to the mailboxes at the end of the street. She can see the women in the SUV, but cannot see their face or clothes. She says the car stopped, backed up. She doesn't remember the door opening. She says a woman gets out and tries to get her attention. She's either saying, hey, or can you help me? Something along those lines. Sherri walks towards the vehicle, phone in her right hand, took the left earbud out. The lady opened the door and Sherri saw a small revolver, and she said she just ducked down because she was scared. She then says she should have ran away, but she cannot remember getting in the car. She felt nauseous and cold in the car. She was on her side, on the floor, with a pillowcase over her head. She says there was like mariachi music playing in the car. It was like, but whatever she can't remember is pretty normal, like I said. Like, they aren't suspicious of her because that makes sense. There are obviously bloggers out there. One got pretty big, and he actually went to the location that she got abducted from, and he was kind of surprised because it was very open. 5 houses could see that exact spot, and it was fall. I mean, it was November, so the trees had all lost their leaves. Like, there was no protection really from like anyone seeing it. So he was just like, I don't know, I feel like that's kind of weird. This blogger also was thinking Keith did it. He was very suspicious of Keith. This blogger puts out this blog post. It gets 50,000 reads in a couple of hours. Okay, it's gone viral. People are convinced that Keith is lying, that he did it, or he was involved. And he's saying that he doesn't really pay much mind to it because, like I said, he gave the police full access to both of their phones right away, didn't even get a lawyer. For him, he's like, well, I know I didn't do it, so I don't really care what they're saying. And also, I know I've seen her body and I know that she got kidnapped and was tortured. So like, I don't really care about any of this. Honestly, woke king. All right, so the first few weeks, Sherri obviously cannot remember much. She starts going to therapy, but she wants Keith in therapy with her. Just like everything else, she wants Keith with her everywhere. They go twice a week, and her therapist suggests that she writes a book to try to like remember any details. I don't know if she was like, you should publish this book, but she maybe just creatively, I do think she did publish it though. And during this time, Keith and her are up late every night. They're trying to remap where she was by her memory. I mean, he's done tons of drawings. He's like really trying to figure out. At one point, she even described a coffee table that she when she was branded, she had her face down on a coffee table, and he described it to her, and he eventually found it on like Google Images and was like, this is it. And they sent it off to police. So, I mean, he was like doing He was investigating. And he ended up having like a pretty spot on sketch of the whole room she was in. 5 days after she's back, she's still talking to investigators. She talks about the branding, how it was like terrible. Obviously, her skin was bubbling. She could smell her skin and hair, and her skin just like fell off. Oh, going back to the sketch, sorry, there was one little detail that's very important. There was a very specific closet. So it was like a normal closet, but then they had this like one thread screw thing that was super long, and so she was like chained to it. So the chain was attached to that, and then she was like in the room hanging out. So it honestly was the closet that was like the biggest. If we can find that, then we kind of know what we're looking for. So Christmas comes around, a lot of family visits. Sherri's having a hard time making eye contact with a lot of them, which I feel like is, you know, probably pretty normal after a trauma. After this, she just kind of goes dark. Like, she doesn't, meeting new people is off the table. They didn't leave the house for a long time. They were both constantly afraid that somebody was going to come back and either finish the job or hurt their kids or, I don't know, murder them, something. Even her kids, like, she told them, if you guys are playing outside and anybody walks by or there's a car, run inside. So I can imagine what this is doing to the kids also, you know what I mean? She had all the windows covered in blankets. She could not sleep without the light on, the big light. Like the actual big light on the ceiling. Like, she had to have it on while sleeping. I don't blame her. Nightmares, screaming, the whole thing. And something new would trigger her all the time. Like, she would not eat black beans. She was like, I cannot have black beans, because apparently all she would eat while she was in captivity was cold black beans from a can. It was that. And then, I mean, it gets a little racist. She gets freaked out by Hispanic culture. If she sees dark curly hair, I mean, this is getting obviously racist. She has like closed doors. She cannot drive on her own. If a door was locked, she would literally scream. Like, she did not like the sound of a lock. She did not like going to the bathroom with the door closed. It was a whole thing. She also would only eat food that was prepared by Keith or her sister or a couple trusted people, and she would have to watch them make it, because according to her, they would drug her with food and drinks and stuff like that. In this part of the documentary, Keith recalls they had a little party at their house when she was feeling a little bit better, and she wanted to know the story of how everybody individually found out she was alive. Keith describes it as like, it was really nice, but it was awkward, like it felt off. One of their friends actually had a ring camera footage of the husband was like outside with a golf club and the wife was inside, and she yells outside, they found her alive. And he's like, oh my God. And apparently they played that so they could watch, and it was really emotional, but also like kind of weird. So then Keith is talking to his therapist, and he's like, I feel terrible, but sometimes I don't believe her. And the therapist is like, well, her story has never changed. She can't fake the body stuff. Do you think she's capable of doing this to herself? And Keith looks at her and says, yes. And the therapist was shook, obviously. So at this point, Keith is like, this doesn't make complete sense to me, but I'm still on Sherri's side. Like, a lot of this, he was like, I don't know if I believe her, but I can't imagine the damage it could do for a spouse to not believe their significant other went through this. So he's just like, I'm on your side kind of thing. Keith also brings up a very odd story of when they first met. She had 2 scars on her back that were just big scars, and she told Keith that an ex-boyfriend had done that with a knife. But then she told her best friend that her father held her down and cut her. So eventually she just admitted she did it herself. So obviously that happened when they first met, and now after this kidnapping, she's referring to before the kidnapping as his first wife. Like, now she's a different person. She can't lie. She's like, I would never lie about this. I don't have the capability of it. I don't have the brain power. I've been drugged for 22 days. I'm not lying anymore. I am now never gonna lie again, apparently. As time progressed, they take little trips around like Oregon, California, went into public spaces. She was a little bit more comfortable, and they were both just happy about a little bit of normalcy. So she was kind of coming around. I mean, I think this took like a while. And then there was like a little video they shared of her trying, you know, the Da Bomb sauce from Hot Ones. I've tried it. I was by myself. There was no audience. No camera was filming. Like, nobody was watching me. This was completely just my reaction because it was so crazy. I put a little bit on a chip and I ate it, and I ran around, threw my jacket off. And I'll tell you, the only thing that helped was ice. Just keep putting ice in your mouth and don't stop until that burn goes away. Anyways, there's a video of her. There's a video of her. This was after the kidnapping and everything, of her trying it on a piece of bread. And at first I was like watching it and I was like, oh my God, is she gonna like freak out because it's, you know, gonna throw her into trauma or something. But she starts coughing a lot, but it's like fine. Like she's like laughing kind of and coughing, but her son starts sobbing and he's like, what's wrong? What's wrong? Are you okay? Are you okay? So it just goes to show like how this is affecting their kids. So in 2017, the FBI gets sketch artists to sketch the women who abducted her. And let me tell you, this is like a local radio host in that area was like, this looks fake. Like this looks like an 80s gangster movie. It doesn't, that people don't look like this normally. And I think it was a different documentary I was watching, but an FBI, like the head of FBI was like, most people who do kidnappings for a long period of time don't wear masks. So that was just like an interesting tip. Also, if you ever need to know that. So this is hurting the Hispanic community in the area, obviously. Hispanic women do not want to walk together anywhere. They don't want to drive together because people are just pointing fingers. I mean, they get police get tips all the time. Like, I saw 2 Hispanic women at the gas station, blah, blah. It's feeling very racist, right? And this was also during Trump's first term, and he was using a lot of the rhetoric of like dangerous Mexicans and stuff. So it was all just kind of, it wasn't good. And a very interesting detail Keith now brings up, because we have the drawing of the Hispanic women, he found a blog very early into them dating. And it was Sherri. It was a picture of her. And it was a very racist blog about Hispanics and how she fought Hispanic girls or something. And her dad was proud. I don't... And when she was asked, she said she didn't write it. She said somebody was playing a prank on her and like put it in her name or something. But in 2007, she reached out to a lawyer to get it removed. So I don't know the story there. I'm going to be honest. I do think she wrote it, but there is no proof that she wrote it or not. And then we get a little bit more detail about the night that they released her from captivity. She says that she was in the room. She heard a lot of yelling, banging around, and then a gunshot. And the women she described, it was like a bigger woman and a smaller woman. And she said the bigger woman apparently got shot or something, and the smaller woman let her go. So the littler one drove her, told her to get out. She just fell out of the car. So nothing really comes out of this. In 2020, all the evidence is getting reviewed again. And this is where it gets even crazier. Keith and Sherri get called in because they have identified DNA that they found on her clothes. I am unsure why it took this long. I'm sure there is a reason, but they had pretty much hit a wall until right now. The DNA brings them to a suspect in Costa Mesa, which is in Southern California. So the police go to Costa Mesa. This obviously happened before they brought them in to tell them about this. So this is like the little backstory. They went to Costa Mesa. It was linked to a guy named James. When they knocked on the door, he opened the door and then his bird flew out. And so one of the cops was like helping him find his bird. And then the other one, he was like, you can go look through my house if you need to, like whatever. So the police officer was going through his house and he sees the closet with the weird threaded screw thing that was specifically described by her and Keith. And they're like, this matches the place. Like, this is it. It makes sense. Like all this layout of what they have sent us from her memory, the same wood paneling, closet, floors. So when they're at this man's house in Costa Mesa, they see a picture on the fridge and it's a picture of his brother or something. And in the very corner, they see the coffee table that Sherri told Keith about, that he found online, that they sent to police to identify. They're like, what is this coffee table? Like, do you still have it? And he was like, oh no, that's broken. I had it till a month ago. He's like, I don't really have anything for you guys. Like, I'm really sorry. I'm jumping around a little here, but it'll make sense. So Keith and Sherri are at the police station and they're like, we have found DNA evidence found on your clothes connected to somebody, and we want to show you that we think we found the house. So they show pictures of the house, and Keith is immediately like, oh my God, like this is exactly what you've explained to me. Like, look at the closet. The closet has the exact thing, the floors, the wood paneling, everything. And she's looking at it and she's like, I don't know, it's a little off. Like, it seems right, but it's off. And Keith is like, this was the first time we've had any evidence of anything. Like, we should probably, you know, look into this. So then the cops say, okay, the DNA led to a person. It was not a female. It was a car, not an SUV. They went to go interview this person and his family, and apparently he told them specific things that I haven't talked about yet. His family told the police specific things, a roommate maybe. So there was like people involved that had like witnessed this supposedly. So now police are asking, do you want Keith to stay here or step out? Because we're gonna have to talk about what happened. She just kind of stares at him and is like, what do you want to do? And he's like, oh, I want to stay. So they give them time to talk, but it's really for them to listen to them. And Keith is just like, tell me the truth. Who is this guy? Like, what is going on? Like, you're obviously being weird about this. And she's just like, I don't know. I don't know. And she's like, I don't want them to find the woman because she's the only reason that I'm able to be with my kids now. And the only reason I was released was because of the woman. Like, I don't want it to get traced back to her. He's like, there's something you're not telling me. Like, I can just feel it. Like, what is it? And she's like, no, they're fucking with you. They're fucking with you. And the investigators come back and they say the DNA that was on her clothes belonged to James Reyes, who is her ex-boyfriend. Okay? Her ex-boyfriend. And she's in this room and she's like, no, there's no way. Like, what do you mean? There's no way. And she was like, he loved me. Like, I don't know why she threw that in there, but she was like, no, he loved me. Like, there's no way. So here's James' side of the story of what had happened to the police. So he says that Sherri wanted help. She sent him a care package with directions in it, sent him a burner phone, says she's trying to run away from her husband. He picked her up in a rental car. She just gets in. There's no females in the car. They drive 8 or 9 hours to Costa Mesa from Redding. He rearranges the house so Sherri has the room in the back or whatever with the closet. She asked him to put boards up on the windows. And he was kind of like, I mean, I was just helping her. I don't know. I was just doing what she wanted me to do for 22 days. Like, she just wanted me to like keep her here. And she was trying to run away from her husband. And apparently her husband is abusive. So like, I don't know. He was very much like, I did not put a hand on her. Like, that's not my thing. She did want me to like throw hockey pucks at her and stuff, which I did do because she wanted me to, which I'm like, okay, that's a little weird, but she obviously just wanted to look like she had been beat the fuck up. He also mentioned that she would just like minimize what she ate. Like, she wouldn't eat much, so that's why she's so skinny. But police really didn't think he was being malicious. They were like, okay, this seems like a really weird relationship. From my perspective, I'm like, okay, it's kind of suspicious that he was like helping her. And eventually, I guess after like the 22 days, she was like, I want to go home. But she needed the branding before she left. She asked him to go get chains, zip ties, etc. for when she runs and is like being found. So they're telling Sherri and Keith all of this information. And they also tell them that James was down to do a polygraph test and he passed with flying colors. So now she's like, I need a lawyer because things aren't making sense. Which in reality, she's getting caught. So she needs someone to like help her. She's like, I'm done speaking till I have a lawyer. Keith is outside pacing. He's pissed. He sees a US Marshal and he's like, thank God they're going to arrest her. Like, literally, he's like, they're going to arrest her because of all this fraud. And they don't. Nobody arrests her. They leave. He's like, do not speak to me. She's like saying she loves him. And he's like, I don't want to talk to you right now. This is too confusing to me. And she was like, maybe James was involved, but he wasn't there. I don't know. They get home and Keith is like, I don't want you in the house. I just can't. I need to be by myself and like process this information. So she's staying somewhere else and he is at home and she is constantly texting him. She loves him. She can't sleep without him. She misses him, all these things. And as time goes by, Keith is realizing that there is no evidence either way that she was abducted or got in the car. At this point, it's kind of like, if she just wants to come out and say, my ex-boyfriend James abducted me, tortured me, and then released me, like, she could. He's like, can I live with myself if this is true? Like, the police couldn't prove that she was along with it. So it's either way, it's like there's no proof. Interesting detail. FBI finds a private private Pinterest board that Sherri had made, which on it had saved photos of branding equipment. Okay. And then the FBI finds out that their 2 burner phones were in communication the day of the disappearance, from the cell tower near her house all the way to Southern California. So now it's March 3rd, 2022. The FBI is sitting outside waiting to arrest her. They want to catch her without her kids. They finally see her leave. They follow her to downtown and they realize she's going to a music school with her kids. So her kids are there. They wait till they're inside and one of the officers comes in and is like, I think your car got dinged or something. And she's like, oh my God, oh no, and ran outside to go look. And unfortunately her kids followed her and the FBI agents arrest her. She throws her keys to her son and is like, call your father. And the piano teacher calls Keith and is like, the FBI got your wife. Sherri's freaking out. She's calling her sister. She's like, you need to fix the situation. Please do something. So the media comes out telling the truth. This was her ex-boyfriend. They were in communication. She got in his car and then wanted to come back. So she was charged with false statement, obviously, mail fraud. She was granted like $30,000 for a victim fund. So she was making disability because she couldn't work. So she had been like receiving a lot of money. 6 days after her arrest, she really wants to talk to Keith at his aunt's house. So she's like, please come over. And he's like, all right, well, we can talk. Keith is obviously like, I don't know who this person is at this point. Keith comes over and she just runs to him with her arms in the air, wraps around him, grabs his hand, pulls him into a bedroom, and is like taking her clothes off. And he's like, whoa, no, I'm not in this mood at all. Like, hello, you got arrested. You've been lying. What's going on? She tells him she wants to take a plea deal and she'll only have 6 months of an ankle bracelet. So it's not a big deal. And Keith is like, are you serious? Like, you want to say that you were lying? And she was like, yeah, I think that's fine. Like, I'll still be home. Like, we can be together. I'll be with the kids. I've already been home a lot anyways because I haven't wanted to leave the house. So it's fine. He's like, no. He runs out. He's like, oh, this woman did it. Like, she is lying. She's crazy. So on April 12th, 2022, she admits she faked her kidnapping. She pleads guilty. She admits James picked her up. But let me tell you, this is not over yet because it gets crazier. She said she watched the news coverage the whole time. She was watching everyone search for her like a crazy person. She had 35 felony counts and 18 months in prison. So she was thinking she was going to get this like 6-month ankle bracelet, but like no, it didn't work. Keith tells a very interesting story. He was putting his daughter to bed, and as he was getting up, he just like, I don't know, like hurt his shoulder a little bit, like nothing crazy, but he was just like, ow. And the daughter was like, are you sick? You need to do mommy's trick. And Keith is like, what is mommy's trick? What do you mean? And so she gets up, she gets a cotton ball, and she soaks it with alcohol and puts it up to her nose to smell it. And she said that her mom would do it whenever she was sick. And Keith is like now finding out that she would like soak rags in alcohol and put them in like a Ziploc bag that hung off their necks. So she could take them to the doctor. I don't know if this obviously is a very attention-seeking person. So a lot of people that do that can kind of put it on their children. Like, is it Munchausen syndrome or is it the other one? I don't know. It's like where you keep thinking your kid's sick, gypsy rosing their kids. I don't know. And he's like crying when he's telling the story because he's obviously like, I can't believe my kids were treated this way. So he gets full custody. Obviously, mom's in jail. There's all these things about her potentially drugging them with alcohol. So she gets out of prison early in 2023 and she seems to be very deeply ashamed, will spend her life making amends. And present day, like the kids don't really want to be around her, according to Keith. According to Keith, the mom was kind of secluding them, keeping them back, not letting them do a lot of things that they wanted to do. Probably because she was psycho. Then I saw that HBO did a documentary. It was like 2 or 3, maybe 4 episodes, and it was her side of the story, kind of. It was really bizarre. So this is the first time she's talking really to the public. And I'm going to be honest, it starts bizarre. Like it starts and she's like laughing and just like, I mean, I'm going to say crazy things because this whole thing is crazy, you know, and it doesn't feel like heavy. I don't know. It just feels odd. And she's kind of giving the like Erica Kirk, like she's like, have you ever lied? Like she'll like stare and be like, have you ever lied? It's very that energy. It's very odd. She says this whole story is true, except she was kidnapped by James. They had been talking, having an emotional affair, and he decided to kidnap her one day. So that's her claim, is like she was kidnapped by him, she was tortured, and she was dropped off by him. The people interviewing her are like, why did you say it was 2 Hispanic women? Like, what was that about? And genuinely, she was like, well, his mom is Hispanic, so I wanted to leave breadcrumbs. Like, I didn't want them to know it was James because I knew he would come back and hurt me if I talked about it or whatever. So I did the closest thing I could do, and his mom's Latino, so I described his mom. She's just kind of saying weird details that I feel like don't make any sense. Like she's like, and why would I be on my run and not dolled up if I knew that I was going to be meeting up with the guy I'm having an affair with? And it's like, because you probably planned it and you were on a run, so your hair was back and you were in a little running outfit. Like, I don't know. She also addresses the cotton ball alcohol thing with her kids. She says that they were essential oils for when they were sick. They were tied loosely around their necks and they never slept with them or anything. And they just liked them. They smelled good and they would help them breathe, which Who knows? The alcohol cotton ball was unfounded, so there's no way to prove either way if that was true. Also, James has denied all of this. He has not been charged with any crime. Again, like I said, he did a polygraph test. He completely passed. His main thing was like, I was just helping a friend. I thought she needed help, and I also thought she was trying to run away. So I was just like doing what she wanted me to do. So then this part's actually kind of funny. So they interview a woman who was in prison with Sherri, and this woman is saying that when Sherri gets there, she just completely keeps to herself. She's just kind of like curled up in bed, and she just like lets people be mean to her. Like she's not talking to anyone, and that's I guess not a good way to go about it, because then you're just like a loner and you can get picked on, whatever. So while she was in prison, there was a Lifetime movie that came out about this whole case. So everybody was up there watching it, obviously. And as soon as the Latina woman sketch part came out, everyone hated her, because most of that jail was Mexican women, and they were like, what the fuck? But it is interesting. The cellmate said as soon as they heard her version, nobody cared anymore. Like, it made all the sense for her to do that, and she actually made friends from that. Here is her complete story of what went down. She says she was having an emotional affair with James, and then she ended things with him. He threatened to come to Reading and to blow everything up. So the plan was for him to come to Reading to say goodbye. So she is planning on meeting him like later in the day, maybe meet at a hotel, have sex, say bye. So she's on a run, and he's texting her. He knows she's running, I guess. At the end of the street, a car pulls up, backs up. She realizes it's James. Her phone fell, and that's the last thing she remembers. She says she wakes up in the back of the vehicle and cannot keep her eyes open. Like, she's like, ooh. She says she woke up naked with boards on windows. That's everything that she can remember. And then this is like, oh my God, this is kind of crazy. In this documentary, they ask if she could reenact, because she cannot remember how she got in the car. She's like, I don't know if I walked in, he grabbed me. Or so they're like, maybe we can reenact this and you can really figure it out. It's kind of crazy because her therapist suggested it, but her therapist was also like, but I would never suggest it as a therapeutical tool. So they tried to film this reenactment of her jogging down the street, the car pulling up, reversing. She's having a hard time. She's upset. I'm gonna be honest. In my opinion, she was actually upset. But in my head, I'm like, I feel like she's now like, I cannot believe this lie got this far. That I am reenacting it for a documentary, and like I still don't have an answer of how I got in this car. That was mine. So this part of the documentary, they're in Sherri's like craft room, and she's like, oh, I always make my Christmas presents in October because I make a lot of handmade. She has the wood burning tools, like the thing she was branded with. It's odd. I mean, she brings it up and she's like, this is something I can't use anymore because... So it's like, I guess, I don't know. Now, apparently they found out James bought one at a Hobby Lobby, which to a lot of people is like a little weird, maybe. I mean, obviously she could have been like, go to Hobby Lobby, it's in the 4th aisle, whatever. But I just feel like most guys are not going to go to Hobby Lobby. Like, they'd use like a barbecue tool or something if they're actually being malicious. And like, I don't know, a lot of people were just like, I don't know. So then in this documentary, she does a polygraph test. Here are the results. She was asked, were you free to leave? She said no, and they believed she was telling the truth. Did you ask James to brand you? She said no. They believed her. Did you plan to travel to Southern California with James that day? No. Body said otherwise. She did try to make it clear after this polygraph test that there was a lot of them talking about moving to Southern California at some point. So I guess during this polygraph, she was like, I mean, we did plan it, but like not that day. So in her mind, she's like, maybe that got fucked up. I don't know. Here's the unresolved questions that they didn't get a yes or no from. Did you arrange for James to pick you up? Do you remember getting in James' car? And did you enter James' vehicle voluntarily? All unresolved. Sherri is adamant that there's no hoax. It was not a hoax. It was just a cover-up because she didn't want her husband to know she was having an affair. So to her, the reasoning she didn't immediately say it was James or anything was, one, she didn't want him to come back and hurt her, whatever. And two, she didn't want her husband to know that she was talking to an ex-boyfriend. Which, I'm gonna be honest, I think at that point, I'd be like, sorry, I was talking to him, but I think I learned my lesson. And then this part was just like so interesting for me specifically, but they're talking about just like the little lies she was saying. Sherri, while being interviewed, she goes, well, have you ever lied? I've seen everyone on this crew do it. very condescending, like scary. Then this is like the best part. At the end of this documentary, the producer drops a bomb that they hired a PI for James. And guess what? His mom is not Hispanic. She is Irish. And Sherri says, okay, I've met her twice. She's literally just like, okay, I've met her twice. No fight. She's like, I met her twice. She's like, she's very much like, this is about James, not her. But it's like, but yeah, but this is also about you. And then at the end, she's just like, will this film do more good or more harm for me? And she's very adamant that she was only charged for lying to a federal agent. She was not lying about being kidnapped, being tortured, any of that. It was just a lie she had to do to protect her husband. Now, I have seen she has been on a couple podcasts. I know she was on like Vile Files, and I've watched parts of them and I'm just like, this lady is not, I don't believe her at all. I'm sorry. It's funny because like my favorite book is Gone Girl, and this is literally Gone Girl, but even crazier. Like, what do you mean she was kidnapped, found with chains, holes, bruises, skinny, and it was her? Like, what? I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know she's written another book. I just don't believe her. So I don't even care to know what it's about, to be honest. You know what I mean? Like, she just, if you watch any of these interviews, you just, if you have intuition, you know she's lying. Please subscribe if you haven't. Comment anything you want me to cover like this. I feel like I'm very into like people that lie and make crazy stories happen. I'm not super into like true crime where it's like this person was murdered. Like, I don't really care about that as much as just like psychotic people, if that makes sense. So if you've got any of those laying around, please let me know. And I will see you guys next time I post. Bye!